Time's up. Admiral.
Here it comes.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f*** yourself. But go f*** yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that? Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star.
Well, as you said, it's been an interesting week, and I think we have to take a moment. All right, I want everybody to join hands. If you're next to Jeremy, you don't have to touch him. It's okay. Join hands. I want you all to listen to the Lord. I want you to thank Jesus for the saving grace of delivering us from the Acolyte and from Halo this week. He reached down with his glorious touch, and he moved heaven and earth to make sure we no longer have to suffer these sins. So I want you to say, praise Jesus, because the Acolyte is filled with the demons that are reaching deep down inside and telling you, use that lightsaber as a penis. Realize that you can abuse your loved one and she will still love you. And realize that with Halo, you can enjoy that man ass. And when that man ass is there, when those cheeks are in your face, you can understand that his helmet is off and it's okay. So praise Jesus for leaving us these sins. Amen.
So where's Melanie back when we need her?
Oh, wait.
You're a blasphemous.
Reverend Rabbi
I
Adam.
think there's a bit of blasphemy here because Jewish Jesus.
I think Reverend Rabbi Adam jumped the book that his people were starting with and went to the other book.
Hi, everybody. I'm a little off kilter. I suddenly was having audio problems with my headphones. So I hope nobody else comes in at the moment because I won't be able to use them. All my little tricks to make them work when it gets screwed over didn't work. So I am going to have to run without anything. Fortunately, I don't need my headphones on to talk to you through my microphone. Hail and howdy, everybody. Welcome to, I guess what we call these, the autopsy streams, but this is not, we've already done an autopsy for the Acolyte. We did that one a month ago, which is what you guys said. Hey, yes. Let's do this one. Let's do the one. Look, Goddess, why you got to ruin that for me? Ruin this for me. I'm looking down the chat now. You sang a song. And I'm not going to sing that song. I'm a little out of sorts. I'm used to having my headphones on. We do this. I don't like not having my headphones on. It feels very weird to do a stream without my headphones on. Anyway, so we've already done an Acolyte autopsy. We have. And I don't want to do it again, but this is a funeral. We're going to bury this tonight. We're burying the Acolyte. And we're going to talk about essentially, how did it get here? How did the Acolyte get here in the first place? It's a failure for a reason. It was a failure from conception. But hail and howdy to everybody out there. Hail and howdy. How you guys doing tonight on this Wednesday evening? I hope you guys doing all right. It's been a weird 48 hours for me. I won't go into it here. We'll go into another time. But I hope everybody's doing well. We're gonna go for as long as we need to, and then when we're done, I'm gonna play some more Dragon Age over on the gaming channel. We'll get to that later. So hail and howdy, everybody. Hail Goddess. Hail Algram. How you doing? There's more people here than just the moderators. That's mean. Why you gotta be so mean, Algram? Why be so mean? More people show up eventually. People show up eventually. Listen, it's a busy Wednesday night. Everybody's got stuff to do, and I'm just happy to have you guys here with me. on this this interesting week. Hail Oscar, hail Masquerade, hail anybody else who you don't have to chat. I'm just happy to have you guys here. It's not required to chat, although it does make it more fun when you guys are chatting. Because guess what? These types of streams, it's interactive. You guys come to me, you talk to me, I talk back to you. If we get a guest, and hopefully we get a guest, if we get a guest and they come in, I will tell them to carry it for a second as I try one more trick to fix my headset, but it requires me messing with the wires over here, which means I'd have to go off camera for a second and they'd have to carry the conversation. But we'll worry about that if it gets there, because while the link is out there, this is not a required stream for a panel. This is more of if you come in, if you have something to say, if you see you're out there, I'm doing something, and you have the link, you're welcome to come in and join the conversation. But this is also mainly me talking about something you guys want to hear. You guys can talk to me, ask me questions, and we will get to the bottom of this, because let's get into it there. Let's get right into it. I don't want to beat around the bush. The Acolyte. We got that joyous news on Monday. It was canceled. And we had a good laugh. We've had a great laugh for the past 72 hours. And ever since then, these stands have been in meltdown. The stands and the shills have been in total and complete meltdown of epic proportions. They're still going. If you go on to X Twitter, I'm going to show you some of what I showed for my video yesterday, and I've added a couple more. But all you got to do is open up the homepage, which we might do. It might be a dangerous thing for me to do it. You never know what's going to come up on the Twitter homepage. But they're still going. They're still crying. They're still losing it. And part of what we're going to talk about tonight is the fact that the stands, the stand base, which we've talked about on another Autopsy stream, they are one of the reasons the Acolyte failed. It's a failure for a lot of reasons, but they are a key reason. We'll get into it. So let's not wait any longer. Let's go into. So let's think about this. So the Acolyte was proposed about 3-4 years ago. It came out. Leslie Headland, former assistant to Harvey Weinstein, personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein. They gave the announcement. Here it comes. She's going to create it. And first of all, I think it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway for the sake of the discussion. All Disney Star Wars shows from their inception are a failure because they're not Star Wars. It's that simple. They're all a failure. But the Acolyte was it was destined to be a special failure because it was set in the High Republic. Right away, you hear that, and most people go, "What's the High Republic?" Because most people don't know what the High Republic is. The High Republic, Disney's attempt to create their own expanded universe. Because guess what? All their sequel trilogy tie-in books, they didn't do so well. So they had the bright idea right before a year or so before COVID happened. We're going to create our own thing called the High Republic. First of all, the name, the High Republic, was just retarded. How can something be at the height of its power a mere 200 years before its collapse? Because the Republic existed for thousands of years. Thousands of years. The Jedi existed for over 20,000 years. Yet Disney had the bright idea, let's make the High Republic, and it's everything is their peak, the Jedi at their peak. It really is a ridiculous concept to have everything at its strongest a mere 200 years. And that's a blink in the Star Wars timeline. A mere 200 years before the collapse of everything. Doesn't make any sense. So that alone, the concept of the High Republic alone is a bad idea. And setting this show inside of that, or at the end of it, not really good foresight. Now, you understand they wrap it up in the whole idea of, oh my God, they're making new things. Don't you understand? Disney Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, and she's given permission for Leslie Headland to make something new. You can't, and we're going to get to this as we go through the discussion on this tonight. You cannot have a new story, progress with new characters when you're trapped in the past. Think about that. A lot of what you're going to see tonight when the stands cry is, look at that. Disney allowed Kathleen Kennedy and no, I'm sorry, I rephrased that. I want to say Kathleen Kennedy, but it's really Leslie Headland. They told Leslie Headland create this, and she created all these new things. She was taking things in a new direction. And look what happened. Nobody liked it. People complained there's nothing new, and you got something new, and you rejected it, and it's been canceled. But that's the thing. Go back to what I just said a moment ago. The High Republic set in the past. How can you go forward with new adventures and new stories with characters and events set in the past that have a sell-by date of basically 0 BBY? How can you have that? And BBY before Battle of Yavin, which is the Battle of Yavin, 0 BBY. So how can you have something with an expiration date and have new adventures when it's going to end? You know what's coming. Anything you do cannot change. And then again, we know Disney doesn't care about that. They will do anything they can. Just look at Kenobi. Kenobi butchered the lore to get their bullshit in there. So think about it very carefully then. The Acolyte gets announced. It takes place during the High Republic. And then they say this. So already its failure is destined because they've set it in a time period that, first of all, is completely made up, has no connection to real Star Wars whatsoever. It's set in the High Republic, which a mere thousands of people read. And then they decide to say, hey, we're gonna make it a story about the Sith. You have a drink, and while I get that drink, if you're having a good time, guys, hit that like button. Hit the like button. Help me out. Let everybody know you're having a good time. So they announce that Leslie Headland is going to helm this, and that's already a red flag. We'll come back to that in a second. And it's going to involve the Sith. Now, even the most casual Star Wars fan in there with some basic knowledge knows that at this point in time, the Sith rule of 2 is in effect. Very simply, the Sith rule of 2 is in effect, and how are you going to tell this? Especially if you're telling something which has some documented characters that exist. I mean, it's Disney timeline, so everything gets screwed up, but very simple. I'm trying to best way to explain this to those who may be wondering what I'm about to say. There is a family tree, so to speak, of the Sith Lords that start with Darth Bane and then go all the way to Palpatine. It's the Darth Bane tree of Sith Lords. And a large portion of them are documented. But if you take the actual moment in time that this happens in, the last time I looked up a timeline right before the Acolyte started because I was curious because I didn't even know this. There was the Sith Lords of this supposed period, 200 years before the Battle of Yavin. I'm sorry, not before the prequel trilogy. Sorry, Battle of Yavin is after. I mean prequel trilogy. I mean Phantom Menace. They have no names. They were undocumented. But we know where they lead to. Darth Tenebris and Darth Plagueis. That's where they lead. But they're two unnamed Sith Lords should be taking place a period of time. Now, if Disney were so creative, you could get a little bit of leeway here because the Sith Lords of that period of time had no documentation. We don't know who they are. But Disney's not that creative. They're retarded. They don't understand that. They don't understand that in order to be a Sith Lord, you have to be trained by Sith. It's that common misconception that even that Disney perpetrates, and clouds the idea that all dark side users are Sith. No, not all dark side users are Sith. That's why when they introduced Manny Jacinto's Darth Zipper face, as I like to call him, and he called himself a Sith, who was his master? Because they allude to the fact that he was Master Leslie Headland's wife. It was he was her former apprentice. But then when they had their filing out, which we'll never know about, we'll never know what happened there. He apparently finds a Sith Lord. Okay, but who? Oh, they're going to tell us at the end it's Darth Plagueis, or hint that it's Darth Plagueis, which makes no sense because Plagueis wasn't a Sith Lord yet at this period of time. He may have been alive, depending on sources, but he wasn't a Sith Lord yet. Tenebris has to be a Sith Lord before him. And then he becomes his apprentice, and he kills Tenebris, and then takes on Palpatine, and then Palpatine takes on Maul, and they kill him. You know how it works. You know how it goes. So you hear this idea that they're going to do a story of the Sith, and you realize that Disney doesn't understand how the Sith work. So you already knew it was going to be a problem, and then you understand that Leslie Headland is a fake fan. I mean, I've played the clips a bunch of times. I don't have it queued up here. Doesn't matter. Leslie Headland doesn't really know what Star Wars is. When she got pinged at the Rise of Soy Walker premiere, please, Queen Kathy. Please, Queen Kathy. Oh, I want to work on the Star Wars. There is no Star Wars. There is no movie. There's only Star Wars. Remember that shit? She knew nothing. She's a fake fan. She is the pinnacle of fake fans. And all the stands want to say, oh my God, she's a real fan. She knows what she's talking about. No, she doesn't. She has assistants feed her information, and she memorizes it and then spews it out like she knows it. All you have to do is read or watch me go over her interviews with Maggie Lovett from Collider, and you could see Leslie Headland knows nothing about Star Wars. Nothing at all. So here we are. We're in the early stages, the development stage, the early production stage, pre-production. They're dropping it in the High Republic, which is a bad idea. They have hired Leslie Headland, who knows nothing, who is an activist, who cares only about a Muggay. And you're going to try and make it a story about Sith with people who don't know how to handle the Sith, who don't know the lore. Problem. And then, so that's the early stuff. That's the early stuff in all of this. So we move a little bit along, and then eventually they make it during COVID. That thing was made 2 years before it was released this year. That thing sat on the shelf forever and even went through some reshoots, I believe. Then finally we get the last year's Star Wars Celebration, where they rolled everybody out for this. Rolled everybody out. And we got all those glorious clips of their inane conversations with shills and the reactions to the stand. So we're in the timeline now, and this is why, in my opinion, Star Wars Celebration is a waste of time. At least maybe it is now. I don't know about the past. I didn't pay attention to the past because I didn't follow this shit until just a few years ago. I was happy being a nerd talking this shit with the fellow nerds who were close to me, usually playing Star Wars: The Old Republic. I didn't talk Star Wars with people unless I was playing the game with them. Other than that, I didn't talk about it. I didn't look for stuff, didn't do anything. So you go to someplace like Star Wars Celebration. There's the next step in this history of failure. And they walk at all these people. And they give all their stupid speeches, all the stupid commentary, and then you see the reactions of the people in the crowd. And I say Star Wars Celebration is worthless and stupid because the only people who go to it now are the stands, the fake fans, the tourists, the people who truly love Star Wars. Maybe there's a few diehards in there, real ones, who go in there for some self-torturous reason I wouldn't understand. But I would say 95% fake fan stand tourists. I would say that without a doubt. And I'm not even going to pretend to hedge my bets. They are all fake fans because when you have somebody go, yes, Queen on stage, or yes, and say all this stuff, and they cheer like idiots, you know They have their audience there. And remember that there is an audience for this. I'm not going to pretend there isn't. We're going to put all the jokes I normally make aside. We'll put all those jokes on the side. But there is an audience for that. There is an audience for that. Hail Dom H. I see you right there, my friend. There is an audience for Disney Star Wars, but as we've talked about this week, as it's become apparent this week, truly and honestly, it's the minority. And that is something that they are grasping at right now. They are grasping at the cope that they are a minority. Well, not grasping. It's the wrong word. Sorry, wrong word. They're coping hard with the idea that they are the minority. So you have to understand, we are there. We are there in that moment in Star Wars Celebration, and they're all cheering. And that's the moment where the fools, some fools out there think, oh man, we got a winner. Look at all these people cheering. That's what? A couple thousand people, a few thousand people there. Well, when you get a few thousand people in one place and they cheer real loud, it looks like it's going to be a success because, of course, a large cheering crowd makes you think, well, maybe they're a snapshot, they're a representation of the larger Star Wars fan base. Problem is, as we talked about last time we did an Autopsy episode here, there is no fan base left. There's only the stan base. And as I just said, they are the minority. So you look at the celebration, they think, wow, we've got a winner. Everybody loves it. Everybody's talking about it here. It's great. It's this and that. They're all excited. And it was going to be a failure, not just because the people you've gathered there were all fake and worthless and not real, don't understand real Star Wars. They only care about Disney Star Wars. But you listen to the conversations the cast had on stage. And that's where we got our first quotes, where these guys, all of them up there, these guys, these gals, and I'm not going to play their pronoun games. They're all just men and women. They're retards, but they're all men and women. They didn't know a goddamn thing about Star Wars. Guy who thinks Anakin blew up the Death Star, his first introduction to us is talking about how Star Wars isn't about good and evil. I believe that's what he said on that. And that's your next red flag of failure right there. If these people have the gall to come up at an event which is all about Star Wars and start talking about the IP, the franchise, with that kind of lack of knowledge, what does that tell you? It tells you that when they were making the show, there was no culture of real Star Wars there. Leslie Headland, who, as I've just said a moment ago, doesn't know anything about Star Wars, was happy to conduct herself in a realm of not understanding Star Wars. So there you go. We've got the first pre-stuff all shown for you guys. It was, the failure is just right there. Real people saw it. Real fans saw it. Normies saw it. They saw the cringe. We saw the red flags. There was nothing about this that said it's going to work. But the stands, they believed it. They believed it. So that was last year, in May. It was literally basically another year before they dropped this. So what happens? Okay. They go quiet on it. They go real quiet on it. We don't hear anything about the Acolyte for months. They held back those trailers until the last minute. They held back the marketing campaign, the interview fest. They held it all back until the last minute. And then suddenly, a month or two before, here come the trailers, here come the interviews. And right away, I don't want to say fears, because I didn't have a fear that it was going to be good. Our foresight is proven true, is what we'll say it like that. The foresight that everybody with a working brain had, that it was going to suck, becomes true, because you get the interviews. We get the line. The guy, Anakin blew up the Death Star. We get all this stuff. We get Amandla Stenberg. We get Leslie Headland talking out of their asses, saying worthless, inane things. All the cast trying to cover for each other. It is a disastrous marketing campaign. And then, of course, the attack on the fans begins. Disney pre-attacks the fans on this stuff. here comes review bombing. Here comes racism. There's that. They launch that, and we just go, thank you. Here we go. You want to play this game? Fine. We'll play this game. And then this glorious show drops. So what do we get? We get the premiere. You get that first 2 premiere. Now I reviewed it. Everybody reviewed it. We talked about it. We're not going to talk details of the show here, but it was a disastrous premiere. 2 episodes. Disney's second. Now Disney right away, they bared their neck to us. They bared their neck and showed us how weak they were when they came out with the lame commentary of second most viewed Star Wars show this year at 11 million. First of all, I was like, wait, hold on a second there, Poncho. What kind of statement is that? That makes no sense. That doesn't mean anything. Second most viewed Star Wars show on Disney Plus this year, when the only other one had been Ahsoka. How is that anything? How is that anything? That's a nothing statement. It's a nothing burger. And when you say we're proud of the 11 million people that watched it worldwide for our premiere, that's just failure. That is complete and utter failure. And we called them out on it. And yeah, Dom H, you're absolutely right, Dom. They went after the fans, and we'll get to that. The other right in the middle of it. Just put a pin in that one. We'll come back to why you don't go after the fans, especially in the sense when you're the actors or the creators. So they went through all that. They say, oh, they pretended some sort of big deal, as the ratings will soon be known a short time later, a month later, when the first ratings drop on Nielsen. It barely charts on the Nielsen top 10 streaming originals. It was, I think, 5 or 6. It was 6. It was 6 or 7. It barely gets on in the bottom 5. And it barely gets on there for episode 3. And it barely gets on there for episode 4. And then it drops off. So the show comes out. It's filled with all kinds of horrible shit in it. I know I was going to go details, but how can we not talk about the power of one, the power of two, the power of many fingers in lesbian hoo-haws? How can we not talk about that? It happened. How can we not talk about the horrible acting, the horrible writing, the nothing makes sense, the music is lame, the choreography is dog shit. Fight me with all your strength. I mean, all that. Do you remember all that shit? Do you remember all that shit? It was a complete and utter disaster, and everybody with a working brain who knew how to review something, they told it like it was. But the stands and the show media, here's failure number 2. They had to start crying review bombing. They had to start crying review bombing. They had to start crying people are being harassed. They start yelling racism, bigotry, isphobes, all that stuff. They start running out the usual bullshit. And what do you think happens? We reply. We reply with videos and commentary. We point out this and that. We show it as then we ask for receipts. We ask for receipts. Show us the racism. Show us the harassment. They never do. They never do. And the show hits its midway mark. And then all these things have piled up for about 3 weeks now. The criticisms of the acting, the writing. Amanda Stenberg can't act. She can't do the choreography. She looks and sounds stupid. Everybody's this and that, blah, blah. And then Amanda Stenberg dropped her diss track. So, like Dom just said, you don't attack the fans. You don't attack the fans. And that diss track, which was embarrassingly cringe. Her weird talking vibe thing that she did, her borderline ASMR shit that she did on that thing. She puts that out there. And she goes on The View and complains about more racisms. She gets annihilated. And rightfully so, because in her diss track, she attacked the fans. She called everybody who doesn't like the Acolyte, doesn't like her, a racist and a bigot. And Dre's not here, but as Dre would say,
look at this half breed.
Yeah, thank you, Dre. That's the thing. She was, and is a terrible person. And when you do something like that, I hadn't talked about her as a person up until then. I just criticized her quality as an actress and her inability to perform, and the fact that I thought she was mid. Then she puts it out there, and suddenly, when you do that, just like by me making videos and streams, putting myself there, I am fair game. If somebody wants to roast me, which you guys do a fine job of all on your own, somebody wants to me, it is fair game to roast me. I put myself out there. I analyze and I criticize things. So once you enter the arena, it's fair game to be roasted. So Amanda Stenberg has been roasted then and now. And we'll come back to that. We'll come back because we got to go on the timeline here of events. So that happens. And then the glorious things that we watched, the back half of the season, that 3 out of the 4 episodes did not chart on the Nielsen's, and the finale barely makes it on at number 10. You know it's going to be a failure when you can't even chart, because as bad as Ahsoka was, Ahsoka still charted on the Nielsen's during its time. It was crap, but it still charted. The Acolyte did not chart for the back half of the season, essentially. And I bet it barely got on. It barely got on at number 10 in the finale. So if you had a concept set in a fake Star Wars era, written by somebody who doesn't know any Star Wars lore at all, who prevails to have a lack of Star Wars culture on the set, so that the actors come out and sound like idiots, like they don't know anything, like they didn't spend any time working on a Star Wars project, like that they make no good impressions. You have screaming, reeing, vomiting, crying stands pretending that there are more of them than there are, convincing people that it's a big thing. You then go on a massive marketing campaign. I forgot to mention, once it started, that brief 2-month period, they went on a big marketing campaign. I mean, I saw you guys mention it here. I think Oscar mentioned it. The Yord Horde. Yeah, here it is. They started their fake, during the show, they started their fake memeing. The Yord Horde. The Soul Patrol. The Stranger. I mean, they started their own fake meme campaign. Their corporate meme. Sorry, yes, we called it the corporate meme campaign. Yeah, that's what we called it. The corporate meme campaign. They started the corporate meme campaign. And in doing that, they showed how fake it was. They showed how fake, how uninteresting, how they don't have any talent. I mean, I hang out with a lot of memers now. Past couple years, I hang out with memers. So I know what real memeing looks like. I dabble occasionally, and I do my pathetic attempt at a meme. I know I can't meme. I'm well aware I cannot meme. And it was apparent right there. That was the failure. That was the failure flag in the middle of all this. That they were struggling, and that failure was imminent, because if you can't generate real memes, if you can't rely on your fan base, and I'll say that lightly, if you can't rely on the people who are fans of what you do to generate genuine, authentic memes, whether it's humorous or kind of mocking you if you've done something stupid or mocking a situation, you're failure. So right in the middle of it, failure. Real quick, Ronald Games, we're not talking Dragon Age on this stream. If you want to ask me about that, tune in for the Dragon Age gaming stream on my gaming channel about an hour or so from now. I'll talk about it there if you want to. I didn't know there was a new trailer. I'm kind of laying off it all until I get the game at this point. I don't really know much more I can say until I get my hands on the game in October. I'm dreading it. I say that without a pun in terms of Dreadwolf, but that's a thing that this stream is not about that tonight. But thank you for being here, though. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you hanging out. If you want to hear me continue to roast the Acolyte, continue to stick around. Yeah. So in the middle of that, they have the fake meme campaign, and that was the failure flag in the middle of that. And then you get to the end, the no ratings, this and that, and then it just ends. It ends in a nothing. It ends on a nothing in terms of promotion, because and we cannot forget during it how all happens. Just to harken on the continued mid-show failures. I almost forgot about stuff. Remember they released that horrible single. The Power of One, the Power of Two, the Power of Many. And yes, Runner Games, link in the description below, Renaissance Nerd Arcade. That's where I do all my gaming. All we do over there is gaming. It's all gaming. We don't talk about anything else. Link in the description below. I have been playing Dragon Age Origins since last week. We're doing a playthrough over there. Big long streams. So there you go. So they released the single, The Power of One, the Power of Two, the Power of Many, of some chick we've never heard of. And it was ridiculously bad. They started sending out fake gifts to all the stands. Let's call them stands. All the stands. They sent out fake gifts during the whole thing. They did remember the Wikipedia controversy. The Wikipedia controversy created problems all over the place where it showed how bad it was, how much they disregarded the lore. And we got to remember. Drink real quick. Hang on. You have to remember when the Wikipedia thing happened with Ki-Adi-Mundi, that was a red herring in the first place. But also, that showed you in that moment of how Disney Star Wars is ready to destroy George Lucas' lore. Because Ki-Adi-Mundi, his age was documented in actual material that George Lucas put out during the Phantom Menace. It was documented. We knew what he was. Okay. I've answered this in the past, so I'm happy to answer it again, Dom. I agree with the sentiment that they want to remake the original trilogy. I agree with that. If Solo had been a success, they would have accelerated that, because then they wouldn't have bothered. If Solo had worked, they would not have bothered with the deep fakes they keep doing to Luke Skywalker with Mark Hamill. They wouldn't have bothered. They would have put out anybody else. They would have put out a new Leia. They would have gone all full forward, putting out young actors to replace the original trio, the original Holy Trinity. As I see it now, I think they want to. I personally, I know that others in the fellowship disagree with this statement. Not with me personally. They just don't prescribe to what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to get there. I think this all falls apart before they can get that far. I don't think they have enough gas in the tank to get to a point where they can attempt a remake. I don't think they get there. I think they want to. I just don't think they get there. And if they do, well, hey, man, that's going to be the greatest content in the world for us, isn't it? I mean, wow. The gall. And of course, I'm also in agreement. They would not do it until George Lucas passes, which George, live forever. Live forever, George. Live forever. They wouldn't dare to do it while he's still alive. And I'm glad to see we saw him in an interview during the Cannes a couple months ago. George looking good. George is looking good right now. So George, he's looking healthy. So they'll do it on the conditions: one, George is dead, and they haven't run out of gas. So that's my statement on that. I've said that for a long time. Now, I of course don't want them to do it from an actual Star Wars fan standpoint, but if they do, great, we'll destroy them. So I hope that answers the question, Dom. Yes, Ariel, I'm alive. I got plenty of sleep. I slept until this afternoon, but I got plenty of sleep. And we'll be going back. We'll be going back after we're done here, because I want to keep playing. Having fun. I'm actually having fun with Dragon Age right now. Anyway, so here's the whole thing then. During it, we talked about the failed meme campaign, the corporate meme campaign, the failed single they released, and then the Ki-Adi-Mundi Wikipedia situation, which showed how they disrespected George's lore. Very simple. And we now reach the end of it. Now, all these failures up until this point, all these failures it's mind-boggling how well, it's not mind-boggling that a Stan would fall for it because they're window-licking droolers. They're window-licking droolers. They like dead fish thrown in their faces as they clap like seals. So when all this happens, and most people with working brain are saying, "Oh yeah, we reject this. We reject this. We're watching everybody's reviews. We're watching the reviews, instead of not watching the show." So we saw the failure was coming, and then the show ends, and it takes a couple of weeks, but we get the numbers, and I've showed you guys the numbers. I mean, I can bring them up again real quick if you want. Let me just, I have them right here. I haven't gotten rid of them because Nielsen doesn't Nielsen doesn't archive. For those who don't understand, Nielsen does not archive their at least publicly online. There's no archive for past ratings. So I have to take screenshots, and I'm ashamed that I didn't keep the screenshots I had for the first half of the season. They're in video, so I still have receipts for them, but they're there. But I have kept for the back half. So let me get to they're out of order here. Excuse me. God damn it. Live television, folks. Live television. I am always prepared. Or maybe I'm not. All right. So this was episode 5 right here. This is episode 5. And as I mentioned, this is after the fact. After the fact, the show is over. We're now getting the ratings in. And now we saw the back half happens. It drops off. The failure flags are now being hoisted high and waved vigorously. Falls off. So this is 24 to 30th. Let's see. God damn it. 2040. No, then we want July 1st, July 7th. Okay. This is episode 6. This is episode 6. Still off streaming originals. Gone. Okay. So episode 7, the penultimate episode. People should be champing at the bit. Excited, tuned in. You're fully engaged. You're ready for it. Not there. And then the finale. There it is. The finale. It claws its way back on barely at 335 million minutes viewed. These ratings, as we saw them coming in, that is all anybody with a working brain should need to know. This is not getting a second season. It should be canceled, because if something isn't rating, that means, and I know you guys understand this, but this is for the people who may not, nobody's watching. If you cannot chart, nobody's watching. So there it is. We have actual facts. I pride myself on making decisions, making analysis, doing reviews, everything I do is based on facts and logic. These are hard factual receipts, and therefore logic dictated at the time as I'm making these videos, as everybody who's watching Nielsen's come out is reporting on it. This does not have a grounds for a second season renewal. It just doesn't. But the stands didn't have that. So now it should fail. It should rightly and totally fail completely because it hasn't had ratings. Nobody watched it. Nobody cared about it. So who's going to show? Why should it get a renewal? But it doesn't matter. The stands begin. Renew the Acolyte. Because stands truly believe in their demented little world that they're the majority. And now we're going to bring up those words. Majority, minority. One is very large, one is very tiny. And when the minority thinks it's in control and is the only one watching something, what do you think is going to happen? They cannot sustain it. That is the core of everything that myself, everybody who reviews and talks about Disney Star Wars, it is what we've been talking about for some of us 5-6 years. I have only been YouTubing for almost 4 years now. We're 3.5 years in on this channel, but I was still watching. I was still in the fellowship chats. I was there. I was just silent. I don't really know. I don't participate in all the other chats. One, because they're always constantly moving. I feel, geez, I'm not going to throw it in there. No one's going to see what I say anyway. But I was always there. So if you watched everything, Geeks and Gamers streams, FNT when it started, other streams like that, I was there in the chat with you. I was just watching, waiting for my turn to make the channel. When, right at the end of COVID, I was getting ready. I was there. We were fans. We were active. We were talking. We understood what it looks like, what passion looks like. But stans, they don't have passion. They have dogma. They have obligation. They have retardation. They are not truly fans of anything. They're there for the agenda, as we're going to review in a moment when I bring up the glorious collection of bookmarked tweets that I have from earlier, from yesterday. So we knew it, but they didn't. So they start their Renew the Acolyte campaign. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Glagatis. Yeah, I was in all those chats. I was in all those chats. I was there with you in each and every one of those chats before some of those went bad. I was there. I'm one of you. I always was and always will be one of you in the chat. I'm always a part of the chat as well. So we knew it, but the stans didn't. They start Renew the Acolyte campaign, and Disney is silent. Disney Lucasfilm is silent. They start promoting Young Jedi Knight Adventures Season 2. They start promoting the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. They start promoting the Rey movie. They start getting ready for D23. Get ready for Skeleton Crew. They start doing all that stuff. They're getting ready. And there is no mention of the Acolyte Season 2. But the stans keep going. Renew the Acolyte every day. The same retards, one of whom blocked me today. Thank you. Thank you. I never have to see their retardation again. They constantly, every day, in a single post, renew the Acolyte, renew the Acolyte, renew the Acolyte, renew the Acolyte. They think that they are moving the needle. They believe that because they all talk to each other on X Twitter, that they are the majority. That because their continued circulation in their posting and interactions, not realizing that they are the ones artificially driving up their own numbers. I'm pretty sure they get numbers because, one, they're driving up, and then two, people come in to make fun of them. Like me. I have been roasting stans for 4 days now. I've been having a ball. Got blocked by a few of them. But they don't understand that the interactions are making fun more often than not. And it's not, they are not representing a majority. They are still a minority. But they thought they had this in the back. So D23 comes around real quick. Ariel has a question. Question about Skeleton Crew. Is that more them making something more for the kids and older audience? And like, how Prodigy is it? I've heard from people who are aware of what Prodigy is about. I don't really know what Prodigy is. I know what it is. I haven't watched it. I haven't wasted my time with that bullshit. They say it sounds very Prodigy-like. Very Star Trek Prodigy-like. What it is, I think it's made for childish adults. I don't think it's made for kids. I think it's made for the Disney Star Wars stan childish adult. I've said that on several occasions for the past couple of weeks, and I'm going to stand by that, because the same people that were going, the Acolyte's great, it's so great, and they're the same people who suddenly, here comes Skeleton Crew. Oh my God, Skeleton Crew is so great. I'm so excited. They're doing that. They're doing that. It's the same people. So these are childish adults. Now, unfortunately, some of them who are the best childish adults, they've blocked me, so I can't bring them up anymore. How you doing, Suggsy? So it's under the belief that it's made for kids, and that's the argument that the stans want to make about this. How can you criticize something that's made for kids? George Lucas made Star Wars for kids. He always said that. George says a lot of things, and half the time he contradicts himself over many things. I will always say this. if Star Wars is made for kids, how come in the very first movie Obi-Wan's chopping off limbs? How come people getting blown up all over the place? People dying in the billions when Alderaan gets exploded. It's pretty violent for a kids movie. And then we go forward in time throughout the rest of Star Wars, original trilogy, prequel trilogy, EU. Lot of stuff in that not for kids. A lot of stuff. So George, I would say George thinks it's more for families because in the end, Star Wars is a wholesome product. It has the story, good versus evil, heroes triumphing in the direst of straits, villains being bad guys, maybe good things of redemption here and there. It's got all the elements of wholesome stuff, but it was made for everybody. And Star Wars is for everybody until it's not. Until it's shut up, you toxic nerds. Made for everybody until it isn't. The toy, well, got us. Excellent point. The toys were made for kids, preteens, and now us adults who lived through that and want to try and collect them all again. Some of us can. Some of us can afford to do that. I cannot. Listen. I held on to my Star Wars toys, my original ones, my original Kenner stuff from the 80s. I held on to that as long as I could. Finally, when things were tight and we could no longer travel with them, they had to get left behind during a move. About a decade ago, they had to get left behind. I had to. Just had to happen. In 2007, we had to be where it was. They were with my mom, and she essentially got kicked out of the place she was renting, and she had to scramble to find a new place to live, and she had to leave them behind. I had just come back. I was just getting ready to go to Florida for another failed, stupid degree that I shouldn't have wasted money on or attempted to waste money on. And then when I came back, I was getting ready to go do another degree. But during that period of time, we just couldn't hold on to them. So I had to jettison it. So I held on to my stuff as long as I could, and to try and recollect it now, first, it would cost a fortune I don't have. But I respect those who are real fans trying to put their collections back together. Just like at least I could put my EU book collection back together. I'm just happy I could put my books back on the shelves. Lego is for kids. The Lego stuff, that's for kids. Now, people can enjoy it because they're parodying their stuff. The Lego stuff is for kids. I will easily say that. Lego is for kids. That's totally for kids. Drink real quick. Hang on. Keep my throat from going dry here. All right. So to get back on track, where were we? So the show has ended. They're trying to renew the Acolyte campaign. And here comes D23. That's where we're D23. D23 happens. And I was so happy D23 happened because I was going through a dry spot in content. I had nothing to talk about, that the realm of things I talk about. Then D23 happens, and we get nothing. We get nothing on the Acolyte. We get nothing. Nothing at all. You get an interview with Manny Jacinto, and the stands are crying, why are we hearing anything about the Acolyte? What's my opinion on the prequels, Dom? I like the prequels for what they are. My view of them has evolved over the past 25 years. I was of the original group. I didn't reject them. I just wasn't happy with what George chose to do. I was one of those people that thought Revenge of the Sith was going to be 50% Anakin and 50% Darth Vader. And when it wasn't that, I was a little upset. And I held on to that for 3 years. But in my dotage, in my old age, I like the prequels for what they are, because in the end, they're still George Lucas. They're still George Lucas, and they have a heart and a soul. They are not perfect by any means. I mean, if you want to see my recent commentary, myself, Jed, and a few other guests, we did do it for Star Wars Month this year. So everybody, if you want to see my current thoughts, I think I laid them all pretty well for the most part on episodes 1, 2, and 3. On Saturday Night Drive-In, on the playlist for Saturday Night Drive-In, Jed and I, and we had guests for those, we talked about all 3 episodes. So I have some recent thoughts, but I like them for what they are, and I enjoy them. I don't have a hatred for them like some Star Wars fans of my generation do. I like them for what they are, and I enjoy them. I watch them frequently. I do, because they're very easy for me to put on and because my copies are digital, I didn't get a physical copy at the time because I didn't want to. At the time, first time around, I didn't want to give them to George because he was monkeying with the original trilogy, and I was angry. So I'm like, I'm not giving George money. Screw that. And then later on, Disney had it. And of course, the ones I have are they're fine. They're fine. They're of high quality. So, but I can put them on my computer, and I can have them as background noise. I can put them on. I can put my headset on. I can listen to them in another room, like a radio drama, while I'm doing other stuff. So they act like a friend to me. But also, I do respect this prequel trilogy for some of the best choreography in Star Wars. Choreography is outstanding. And they're fun. They're Star Wars and they're fun. So those are my brief thoughts. Again, if you guys haven't seen it, we did it in May for Star Wars Month this year over on Saturday Night Drive-In. So you can go check that out. It's a good time. I rated them highly. Jed was vicious. With his scoring. But when is Jed not vicious with his scoring? That's just how Jed is. We love him for it, though. All right, so D23 happens. No mention of the Acolyte Season 2. And the stands they're getting a little nervous now. You can go to Twitter at the time during D23, and they're starting to say, why aren't we hearing anything about the Acolyte? Why are we're they're all here. Why aren't you talking about it? And I'm sitting there going, with many others, I was not alone, we're going, okay, we haven't heard anything, but this is Disney Lucasfilm. There's a 50, it was, and I'm on the record. I was saying it's a 50-50 chance cancellation, but because of the bad ratings and everything went wrong with it, but also it's Disney Lucasfilm. They usually don't care about this. They'll usually push on. And a week later, this Monday, we got the news. It was canceled. And I've listed all the failures up to this point. But now here's the ultimate failure. We'll dig into the ultimate failure now. It was going to fail because it was unattractive for all the reasons we've stated up until this point to real Star Wars fans and the normies. The normies do not want something packed with, and I'll say it here, the gay agenda. The gay trans agenda. They don't want it. They don't want that. They don't want that. What they wanted was Star Wars they understood. That's what they wanted. And they didn't get it. And they didn't get it because we reported on it. We didn't review bomb it. We didn't harass anybody. We talked about the facts and the logic. The facts of the show that was in front of you. You can watch my reviews. I didn't leave anything out. I told you everything. I didn't lie. I didn't obfuscate. Didn't make anything up. Didn't add anything. I showed you what was there. I showed you when the agenda popped up. I showed you all the bullshit. I showed you the Marxism. There was the entire first flashback episode screams Marxism. It screamed commie Marxism. Agenda. And the normies, we saw it, they saw it, and they said no, so they didn't show up. So here we go. It gets canceled. And as I said earlier, here's what the most important thing is. The stand base has now been revealed that they themselves are a failure. I'll bring it up here briefly now because I got added a couple other ones, but just to make some of my points of why they are a failure. I showed you this is still the same one. If you watched my video from yesterday, this is the same list of all the meltdowns, all of them. You can zoom in a little bit. All the meltdowns that I cataloged. I had to stop, but I added a couple more today. I did add a few more. Right here. This is the latest one. Like, we're back with M. Remember, I talked about her. No, I'm sorry. I was talking this one here. They need to know that the Acolyte was a new direction that had so many interested, despite the incel bigot dude bros whining and complaining. Give Leslie Headland a chance to continue to tell her story. This single post right here encapsulates everything that is wrong with the stand base. Let's go. I could not have chosen a better one at random. And this is random. I don't seek these things out. They come across my timeline and I mark, and sometimes I roast in response. But right here, New Direction that had so many interested. First of all, so many interested has now been proven. You're a minority. No, they say so many, but the ratings proved otherwise. Ratings proved otherwise. Despite and here it comes, the incel bigot dude bros whining and complaining. We write reviews. First of all, they're insults, whatever. Incel bigot dude bros. This is how they view the world. If you do not align with what they think and what they say, you are a bigot. You are a racist. And you're an incel. I mean, that's one of the weakest things to even call anybody. It's so stupid. Especially since most of everybody talks about stuff have freaking families. Maybe I'm the lone incel because I don't have a girlfriend and I don't have a family. Oh, that's my bad. That's my fault. I'm not. I was never good with women in my youth. As suave and debonair as you might think I am, I have a very bad track record of asking girls out. Very bad track record, and I will admit that. Not the consummate ladies' man, but it's not for lack of trying. Not for lack of trying. At the same time, we love this stuff. And we're passionate. They say whining and complaining. They see our passion as whining and complaining. No, it's passion because we give a damn. And as I documented yesterday, a lot of these people are now running away from Disney Star Wars. If you loved it so much, if you thought everything they were doing was so great, why are you so easily abandoning it? Some of them saying, what can I look forward to? I need to get out of this right now. I'm looking for something new to watch. Somebody give me something else. I can't watch this going forward. Disney's betrayed us. Wow. Your loyalties were so solid a month ago. Thank you, Dom H, for 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, my friend. Much appreciated. Thank you. How can they have such loyalty a mere month ago, but now suddenly not at all? One little thing doesn't go their way, no loyalty at all. Whereas real fans like myself, now remember, guys, I blackpilled hard way back in the day. It was ugly. I didn't want to even look at anything Star Wars. I had everything in a box. Almost threw it out. Oh, no. Derby got a membership. We're cursed. We're cursed. That's it. Stream's over. Dermy has a free membership. We're done. Oh, God. He's going to use that free membership chat to make me read something awful at one point. He's going to now. That little bastard. Anyway, all right. Hey, Dermy's our retard. He's our retard. We love the little bastard. Anyway, so I almost threw everything out. I blackpilled, but I came back to it, and my passion is stronger than it ever was before. Disney may have taken over and destroyed real Star Wars, but I will never give it up. I may never get another novel, another real game set in real Star Wars timeline, but you know what? That doesn't mean I'm walking away. I love it forever. Franchise closest to my heart. First franchise in my life. 3-year-old Adam. First thing ever. Then Dark Crystal was my second one. That much of a franchise, just one movie. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying? They are so easily discouraged, and it proves they're tourists. I mean, let me switch back to my let me go over here real quick to the main Twitter timeline on my front page. It's a couple things I replied to today, but I didn't add to it. If we go down here, like this one right here, this is me making fun of these guys. This guy right here, almost there. No, I'm being blocked lately. Where is it? Oh, God damn it. I wasn't prepared. We'll come back to this guy right here. This guy's funny. We're all roasting him today. Here it is. Hi, oomphs. Any good franchises to hyperfixate on? Local autistic is leaving Star Wars and searches for something new. Yeah, they're running. They're running like the tourists they are. And then they also behave like this. They want to another tourist saying basically trying to fake meme. Here's their fake meme. Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? No, they canceled the Acolyte. There was a tragedy of Darth Plagueis. A book by James Luceno. A book by James Luceno, which is beloved by real Star Wars fans. The story has been told. It's there. And you go up further. This is the guy that blocked me, this idiot. I got that block. I love that one. Then there's this guy. This guy came out of nowhere today, and a lot of us in my immediate circle, we're mocking the hell out of him, and it's broadened out. He says, I wonder if people shitting on the Acolyte realize that if they keep this up, they may just discontinue generating new Star Wars content. And I find those terms acceptable. Those terms are acceptable. I agree. Just stop. Just stop. But you understand what I'm saying here. The stands are the problem. They are the ultimate problem because they are the ones that Disney wanted instead of us. They're the ones Disney wanted instead of us. They rejected us. They told us to take our lore-accurate complaints, our love and passion for the franchise, and go. Because we want these idiots who like to scream, vomit, and faint over Disney Star Wars, who like to make weird gay fan art over characters that are not homosexual in any way. That's what they wanted. And that's who showed up for this. The bottom line is the minority came out to their maximum for the Acolyte, and they could not sustain it. They could not sustain Disney Star Wars, which is what I and many others have been saying for years now. Stans are not fans. This is not the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, where the actual true Star Wars fan base, as I talked about a couple weeks ago on the last stream of Autopsy, real Star Wars fans carried the franchise on their shoulders for decades when all we had were books and games and no movies. That's all we had. We had the expanded universe, and we carried it. And we now have the complete evidence that the stands cannot carry this. They can't. This was their show. It had every bit of agenda that had been dropped into previous Disney Star Wars incarnations, but this one tripled down on it, and they put even more in there. They went full in on the not-so-secret gay, lesbian, trans agenda. They went full in on it. They went full in on Marxism. They went full in on intersectional feminism. They went to the edge and beyond. And it was rejected. Oh, we've got a guest. All right. Hi, Ryan. I can't hear you because my headset isn't working. I have to. Let's put it on, and you say something, and let's see if it's working. I wasn't expecting anybody. All right. Let's see if it's working yet.
Well, I heard there was a funeral.
Not working. My headset. All right. Ryan, why don't you say hi to everybody for a second? I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to do the one trick I have left, and I'm going to see if my headset will work. So, Ryan, why don't you give some quick thoughts on the failure of the Acolyte while I do this? Be right back.
All right. Well, I heard there was a funeral or a party or which way you want to describe it. The Acolyte was okay. It wasn't as bad as Rings of Power season 1. It wasn't. Not by much. That being said, it wasn't good. Like literally Smilo Ren, and the guy from Squid Game who learned English about 5 months ago, probably about 2 months before he started the show, are the best actors in the whole entire thing. Like, are you joking right now? Also, at the same time, again, Smilo Ren. Nobody knows who he is. Manny, whatever his name is, I don't care. Like, what is his record of being an actor? It's like I don't know. And quite frankly, the fact that these people they're so like going, I just needed a season 2 of The Acolyte. I just needed more. It's like you needed more of what? Like seriously, more of what? Like they don't ever say what they needed more of. They just say I needed more. Like what? More.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good. All right. So what are you saying? What are you saying now? I'm good. I can hear you
I
now.
was just saying, like going that these weirdos on Twitter, they're like going,
Yeah.
I need more Acolyte, and it's like
Yeah.
going, you need more what? Like what do you need more of?
Well,
Like
all right. All right. So that leads into what I was talking about right now. That they are the source of the failure of this because they're to get to the next point. I guess I'll move to the next point on that. They're just consumers. They're just
yes,
consumers. They have no heart or passion. What we see here, I mean, they've been whining for 72 hours, dude. They have been crying, and it hasn't stopped. It just keeps going. I mean, have you been following it?
I've seen some of it.
Okay.
I've been obviously doing a lot of working and stuff like that for various reasons, but working two jobs, but it's trust me, it's worth it. Anyway, long story short, so I have seen some of it, and I've wanted to make a video about how literally it was what is officially canceled. This was it this
Oh,
morning?
Monday. No, Monday.
Monday. Okay.
Monday.
Holy shit.
Monday night. Monday night. It was Monday evening. About 4 o'clock Monday was when Deadline dropped the first announcement. They got the first dibs on the announcement, and I heard about it at around 6 or 7, and I quickly put out a video because I wasn't doing the middle of Mondays because I had a doctor's appointment on Tuesday. So
Okay.
I just cranked out a video and then was happy. It's like yay, and then I celebrated like everybody else. And then I came back yesterday with a video of all of it. This is just a sample of the bookmark of everything I saw. I was just bookmarking everything. Look at these are all cope and whining and dying. Some of them have blocked me, so some of them aren't showing up. But this is what it was for that. This was from Monday into Tuesday, and it's even more. It just keeps going. They aren't stopping, and throughout this whole thing, it reveals as why because tonight's whole conversation has been about how this was always destined to fail. All the flags, every bit. But in the end, these idiots are why it failed because they're a minority.
Mm-hmm.
They're a minority who only care about seeing themselves in it, diversity, inclusion. They care about agenda being crammed into it, and they are completely obtuse because there are many of them in here, and I'm sure you've heard this from yesterday and today, where they're blaming us.
Oh
For
yeah,
example.
no, I've seen that one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah,
it's par for the course, right? When uh, when they say that the acolyte's not doing well or something like that, and they go and the review bombing from toxic
yeah.
fans. It's like, okay, well, how come they're toxic fans when something you like is literally being said, this is a pile of garbage. I would rather I would rather drag a rake over my
Mhm.
face than watch this whole entire season. And then they go like, oh, well, you're just a toxic fan, or you're review bombing on Rotten Tomatoes. Well, then how come Inside Out 2 didn't get review bombed? Is it being positively review bombed?
Well, the whole review bombing concept is retarded in the first place
It
because
is, yeah.
people are going to like something, they're going to talk about it. If they don't like something, they're going to talk about it. It's
Well,
just excuses. It's excuses is what it is.
Well, yeah, and I've heard these weirdos, and they're all Disney losers.
Mhm.
The majority of them are probably adult Disney goers who
They're
they're-
childish adults. They're
yeah,
childish
pretty
adults.
much. And they're like, oh well, the box office doesn't prove something's good. I'm sorry, Infinity
Numbers.
War, Endgame,
Yeah.
No Way Home, and Deadpool and Wolverine would like a word with you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that doesn't prove
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. It proves that people want to see it, and then they go back and they see it again, or they tell other people to go see it. That's what it means. When something bombs like it's going out of style, the Eternals. And look, I had somebody argue with me about Shang-Chi. They're like, "Oh, Shang-Chi made money." I'm like, going, if it
No, it
made
didn't.
any, if it
No, it
made
didn't.
any, and look, you have to give these losers the benefit of the doubt, right? I'm like, if
No,
it
I
made
don't.
any
No,
money, it was a sneeze. It was so low
it didn't
that
break even. No,
no,
Shang-Chi
it
did
did.
not
It
break even.
didn't break even.
It didn't break
All the
so
numbers
yeah.
prove that it
Yeah.
didn't break even. But when you provide these facts to these people, they're like going, well, that's not how the box office works. Yes, it is.
No, they don't. These people, and they routinely do not understand the difference between gross and net.
Yep.
They don't understand that gross is everything totaled before you pay for your expenses.
Yeah.
And
Well,
what you have over net profit is what you have left over. But they don't understand that. They don't understand that to this day.
They also don't understand the fact that there's a difference between the budget was 200 some odd $1 million and it made it's like okay, the budget to make the movie and pay the actors and the director and the writers and all that kind of stuff. There's a marketing budget.
Yeah.
They have to pay to market it. You don't just fart out a movie and it's rainbows and smiles and everybody goes, "Oh, it shows up on my TV." Great.
Yep. And a budget plus you have your production budget and we usually have to estimate on the marketing budget, but when you add those together, you still have to multiply it at current equation 2.5 times to get your break even number.
Minimum 2.5.
Yeah. We're getting close to 3. We have to soon it's going to be 3.
Well, because half the time the marketing budget is bigger than the actual budget to make the movie because they're trying to. And then if a movie
and they lie to us, about the budget too. They leave hundreds. They like easily most of the MCU movies. They leave up $100 million off their announcement. They just leave it off. They don't tell you.
Well, and this is one of the reasons I stopped actually debating. Well, we'll even try to not really debate, just say put facts to people on Twitter, like share an article, be like, going, hey, this is what they said. This is from an outlet that you probably would normally reference, but it's saying the opposite of what you want. So you discount it. But it's like, literally Captain America 4 it's a flop. It's already a flop. It's already a flop. They're like, going, have you seen the movie? And I'm like, no. Budget wise,
it needs $1 billion to break
budget wise, from all it's been reshot 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
It is a flop. It's not including the marketing budget. It is a flop as it stands. They're like, oh, well, if you haven't seen it, then it doesn't mean. I'm like, oh, you guys don't understand how numbers work.
So to get it back on this stuff, though, to keep it in budget, this was going to be a failure because its budget was $180 million.
Mm-hmm.
100. That's the budget of a not blockbuster, but a Hollywood movie. And think about that. $180 million for 8 episodes, where the majority of the episodes were 30 minutes.
Hold on. That's literally more than the budget of the original Ant-Man with Paul Rudd. Yeah,
but see, failure. This thing was always going to fail because Disney Plus is a failed streaming service.
Yes,
and you dump another $180 million into it. They're not going to get subs. Nobody's going to buy the merch. Nobody is going to get anything related to this. So it was never going to make any money because it was never going to get any subs. And the stands didn't want to believe this, but at the same time, they want to blame us. Like this statement right here, for all you purists out there, you're the ones George is warning us kids. What? They like to have these. They continue to run with a bunch of fake news stories. I mean, I commented on a couple today. They're still trying to tell us, as we talk about talk about this one, they're crying that Amanda Stenberg's being harassed like Kelly Marie Tran.
Kelly Marie Tran was never harassed.
Was never a single receipt produced. And she said herself in an interview, I left because my sudden fame overwhelmed me on social media. That's why that's the truth.
It's the same reason Daisy Ridley left. Nobody harassed her. She says, I don't like being on social media. I don't like all this attention.
Yeah.
Peace, I'm out. And she deleted her Instagram. I think that's the only thing she had.
I've teased Daisy Ridley about her teeth, chiclet teeth. We've all made that joke at least once or twice. But I've never actually made fun of Daisy Ridley.
I didn't tease the teeth. I teased the haircut though, because they made her forehead look giant. And again, they put Kelly Marie Tran in a burlap sack. What are you doing?
I know. So I made fun of Rostico. I never made fun of Kelly Marie Tran. I make fun of characters and performances. I can critique performances, but as far as the person, I will never make fun of them unless you're Amanda Stenberg and you drop a diss track and call me and millions of other people racists and bigots. Then you're
was
fair
good.
game. You are then in the arena, and I can roast you all I want. And
That was one of the
funny
most
thing is,
horrid things I've ever seen.
let me go back to this one here. I put this one up here before. This person right here says, at Disney, we strive to put humanity above other considerations. Meanwhile, the lead of their shows is getting lambasted with racist hate and abuse, and it's crickets from Lucasfilm the Mouse. Let's look at these real quick. Congratulations on the cancellation of a terrible thing. I hope you do something of value without identity politics. Get woke, go broke, baby. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Canceled. Go woke, go broke. Okay. Next one. How does it feel to have your terrible show canceled? Yo, bad things happen to bad people. No reason, no season for 2 for you. Hope your ego took a hit it needed. Maybe learn to accept criticism next time before acting like a victim. The writing was bad. That's why it was bad. Season 2 canceled. Okay, one more. Worst actress ever. Worst show ever. Both canceled forever. Everything you do is a disaster. Now you can do your dirty dancing all the time. Take the L, bozo. Cancel how your acting was dog shit. Blah blah blah. Ryan, have you seen a single racist insult in this?
Actual classical racism, in the actual term,
like
no.
names and
But
and
saying
slurs.
that something's woke or it's DEI is considered racist in today's world.
Okay,
You're
all
not allowed
right,
to say
all
these
right.
things. You're not allowed to say DEI or diversity
Yeah.
hire or anything like that.
Okay.
Even though literally in a certain thing going on right now, there's a certain woman who is a diversity hire and said to be so at the time of her picking, but now it's racist to say that because the other side's saying it. You're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to call something woke or you're a racist. It's like diversity, equity, inclusion is the reason Disney's failing. They're like, oh, what? You don't like black people? How the fuck did you get to that one? You went from this to this? It's like, no, Disney's judging people based on their inalienable physical and even personal characteristics. That's discriminatory. That's crap. It's garbage. It's not on anybody's merit. It's not in your acting prowess. Saying
But
you're picking something based on their skin color is inherently racism.
But you bring up acting prowess. All I saw in this was roasting her acting and bad writing.
Yes,
that's legitimate.
Well, I'm calling her a bozo for making that stupid video because
that's the next part. Even before the diss track, we're allowed to say you're a bad actress and the writing sucks. But then when she attacks us, calling somebody a bozo, I mean, geez, I've been called way worse recently. By people
no, I mean, I people call me a racist, sexist, not like Nazi. I'm like, these words all have meaning, guys. You understand that, right? They're like, oh, we know they do. That's why that's why I said it to you. And it's like, do you know what a Nazi is? Do you legitimately know what one is? Have you ever committed a genocide against millions of people? Because I haven't.
So they want to say stuff like this, and it immediately shows their failure because this is what they care about. They care about somebody's skin color. They care about that Amandla Stenberg lines up with their ideology.
Yeah.
And
it's a religion.
And we can go back to these over here. They don't understand. I mean, here's more of that right there. The same couple ones I read there, same as 2. They don't understand that there's reality and there's fantasy, and that they're living in the fantasy. And this has been a shock. And I'll point it out again. Their sudden hatred of Disney. Shame on you, Disney. A month ago, during the show, they were literally sucking Disney's dick on how great it was. Disney was the greatest thing ever. We're so proud of you for doing this. And now Disney's a devil. Tourists. Every goddamn one of them Star Wars tourists. Every one of them.
Collider wrote, and I quote, because I only did a video of basically a part 1 video. I was going to do part 2, but I was like, I can't do this. They wrote an article that takes 10 minutes to read of why Reylos were vindicated by the Acolyte.
I remember that.
The hell are you talking about?
Well, they also had Maggie Lovett do 3 interviews with Leslie Headland. I dissected one of them on stream for a video. That's That's how much these shills were invested in this. They were all running cover. And I got quotes of Maggie Lovin in this one too. She's in here. I went over it. They are all completely, they are the ones at fault, and they want to blame everybody. And that's why it was always going to fail, because they had no foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Stans are not fans. They are
No.
they are just that. They are stands. They are fake fans. They are tourists. They show up on social media and make themselves look like they're a large crowd. They show up at Star Wars Celebration, which is made for them. They show up at D23, which is made for them. And you can congregate them in a small space where it looks like they are a big, raucous, cheering, monolithic crowd that's going to support everything you do. But when you take them out, they are legitimately the tiny minority that barely buys the High Republic and only watch this show.
Mm-hmm.
They can't carry a franchise. They can't sustain it. And that in the end is the core of why this was destined to fail, because Disney looked at them on social media and all the previous projects where they sounded like they were the majority, pretended they were the majority. And I listed them all at the beginning of the stream, all the pre-production, the concept phase stuff. They said, oh, this is what they want, so let's give it to them because these are our fans. These are the ones that are still here. And that makes them the root of it all, the root of the failure.
Well,
Because
and
they are not the ones to make this work. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just literally going to piggyback off of that, because these people, social media is not real life. I get it. We're on social media right now, but we're actually telling you on a social media platform, social media is not life. You got to go outside. You got to breathe some cool, fresh air, and you got to clear your head, because quite frankly, just because somebody agrees with you on social media, there's going to be 10 people to disagree with you on social media.
You know what social media is? It's entertainment.
It's entertainment.
It's entertainment. We're the new television.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And quite frankly, no, nobody's watching Disney Plus, because again, they keep jacking prices up. Looking at you, Netflix too. Nobody wants to pay $20 for this garbage. Nobody.
No.
Like, great, if you want to and YouTube finally fucking wised up, and they're like going, oh, YouTube Premium, $10 a month. It's like going, okay, that's reasonable, right? Disney Plus at one point was reasonable when it was like what, $6, $5.99, and then it went $7.99. Okay, I would still get behind that. They're just skyrocketing prices, and it's like, I don't care. I don't want to pay for any of this. I don't want to watch any of this. Like,
no.
You know, it's one of those things. The only subscription service I had Max for the end of House of the Dragon, which again, what a lovely preview for next season. Thank you so much. And
I warned you, didn't I?
Yeah,
I warned you.
And I have Peacock, which is literally the cheapest one, and they just up their prices to $8, which is fine. But if they go above $10, bro, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not paying for that crap anymore, because we're not doing this. We're not doing this slowly, just nickel and dime everybody. So nobody's watching this crap. Nobody cares. The Acolyte was not in the top 20 of streaming 2/3 of the way through. Not even towards the finale. 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah, and well, I mean, here, listen. Before this all dropped, I was eagerly awaiting the Nielsen's for the week after the Acolyte. I was eagerly waiting that, because remember, right after it ended, they came out with that fake Rotten Tomatoes story of, oh my God, it's #1 on Rotten Tomatoes. All these review bombs, all these haters, they're lying to you. I was waiting for that, because if it wasn't #1 on Nielsen's for that week, they lied. Because Nielsen is not perfect.
No.
But they are the oldest, most reliable metric for whether or not a show is being watched by people. It is.
Yeah, and it takes time to get those numbers out. So Disney can literally go, well, this was the most watched episode 1 of any, and then you find out like a month and a half later, and it's like going, who said who to what now?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then Disney, here's the thing. Disney had these numbers before D23. They
Oh,
had
of
these
course
numbers.
they did.
They knew that this was going to bomb. They knew it was done. They knew they were going to cancel it before 223. They knew it. And it wasn't a surprise to us. But the stands, as I said, they lived in a fantasy world, and they are part of the reason. Oh, come on, work. Why isn't this working? God damn it. I'm trying to set something up here, and it's not working, and I just screwed myself a little bit. They knew it wasn't working. And the stands convinced themselves that everything was great because, oh, guess what? Disney believes in our ideology, so of course they're going to give us what they want. And we think. I mean, I didn't have them, but there are the tweets out there, the posts out there where they say they still think to this moment they're the majority and we are the minority. And they think that because we complained about it, that Disney is suddenly catering to us. Disney hates our guts.
Yeah.
They hate our guts.
Disney's not catering to us in any way, shape, or form. Also,
No.
just FYI, the original Ant-Man film, his budget was 130 to 169.3 million dollars estimated.
Wow.
It cost at minimum
Yeah,
11 million less than this fucking show to make, and it was 10 times better, and the special effects were better.
Ant-Man 1 made money.
It made a lot of money.
Yeah, it made money.
It hit $519.3 million.
Yeah, it made a couple $100 million.
In a movie that's almost a decade old, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you joking? Like,
No.
these people, they're like, oh, well, again, box office doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because again, when something's good, you go home and say, hey, I just saw this. It was really good. You should go see it. And then they tell more people. But when you're talking about this show, it's like going, oh, I watched that new Star Wars show. Holy shit, I would have rather raked my face over hot coals. People are going to go, whoa. They might watch the first episode to see what you're talking about. But the majority of people are going, well, I ain't got time for that. I have a normal day job. But these losers, and look, there's probably a third of them that are kids on Twitter, by the way, because I call it out all the time. You get these people by the way they text. I'm like going, you're 12, aren't you? What does that have to do with anything? I'm like, you're a child.
You're a child. You are literally a child. I've started calling them all children because I know a lot of them are children.
It's like, go pick up your school books, study, so you can actually do something in life instead of being this.
But in the end, so this was destined to fail. I've laid it out. I mean, we're at the end of the stream now. You've come in at the end, unfortunately.
That's fine. I got a show in about 30 minutes, so it's fine.
I know. Yeah, I know you do. So I know you got something to show. And I got it on. I got another show, gaming stream over in Arcade, guys.
Gaming stream.
You guys will be redirected there when we're done here. If you want to hang out, we play some Dragon Age.
Nice.
But it was always going to fail from its conception phase, production, people involved, and then the show itself. The numbers there, but it all centered on the fact that Disney made a product for people who are not fans, who are fake fan tourists, who do not have the passion, who are so broken by this, they're abandoning ship. And at the same time, they're also criticizing the rest of Disney Star Wars now. They're yelling at anything Jon Favreau. They're angry that gets to keep going and this doesn't.
I saw some loser on Twitter. I think it was yesterday. He's like going, we only have the Skywalker saga left. And it's like, you thought you had more before that?
First of all, there is no Skywalker saga. There's just Star Wars.
Yeah, there's just Star Wars also at the same time.
That's a fake phrase made up by Disney. Before 2012, no one ever said Skywalker saga in their life. That was not a term ever uttered in the Star Wars fandom.
And quite frankly, I don't think it really caught on until talking about the Infinity Saga, which was extremely profitable and very successful. We'll say Captain Marvel's like as a weird one-off, but whatever.
That was brilliant marketing. That's all that was.
It was incredible marketing. You placed it between Infinity War and Endgame. So, like, do you want applause? Like, oh no, because it is a mid as fuck movie. But anyway, long story short, they're trying to brand these things using stuff that's successful, like going, oh, the Skywalker saga. No, it's just Star Wars. It's the original
And
Star Wars. It's the prequels and the
well,
original trilogy,
it
and
was
that's it.
it was referred to as eras back
Yeah.
then. We called it.
Mhm.
You had the Old Republic.
Yep.
You had the prequel. You had the prequel era.
Yep.
Then you had the OT, and then you had the New Republic.
Yep.
That's how you refer to Star Wars when you were a real fan back in the day. No sagas. It's these eras all have their stories, and that's what it was.
Yeah, and everything in the EU fit in those categories. Literally
Because
in those categories.
George, even though he bitched about it, he still controlled it. Nothing on that shelf got printed without his approval.
Yep.
And he made sure, and even when he decided to get back in the game and make The Clone Wars, the TV show, they made sure that retcons were made and it was integrated without it, with it was as much least resistance as possible into the EU as it was going on. And they did it. And it worked. And
Look,
at the bottom line, if George Lucas was involved, it's Star Wars. It's just that simple. And I can accept that. As much as I despise the Clone Wars as a show, and I still do, how many times I've seen it, I still despise it. It's still Star Wars because George did it. Now, Dave Filoni fucked a lot of shit up, but you could kind of take that shit out and pretend it didn't happen because it kind of doesn't get referenced later on. So,
well,
Ahsoka included.
The Cartoon Network, 2 off Clone Wars DVD.
That's Tartakovsky. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Those are the only ones that are actually extremely good. Like,
because they were
very,
made
very
to
good.
tie into the movies. They were
Exactly.
The end of the second season was literally made to lead into Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yep. Pretty much.
Because I know people who don't know, who hadn't seen it, they had no idea why Grievous is coughing at the beginning of the movie, because they don't know that he's coughing because Mace Windu force crunched his chest while he was escaping from the planet back into space.
Also, I do believe you can actually watch those on YouTube. So
you can. I did.
I still have the 2 DVDs that I bought decades ago. But watch those
they're piecemeal. You have to find. There's a playlist out there that has it.
Yeah.
I rewatched it in May when Jed and I were doing Revenge of the Sith, and Jed hated them.
He hated them?
He hated them. He didn't hate them. He just didn't like them.
Is he drinking?
No, but he's Jed. He has his opinions, and I love him for it.
Yeah, this from the guy that made us watch The Witcher season 3. Thanks, dude.
Hey, he did that as torture on purpose. Okay.
I know.
Anyway.
And we lost all the girls by the end of it. Literally 3 episodes in out of 6, we lost all the girls. Are like going, like this shit, I'm out. It's like
YouTube. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna wrap it up then. I think I've said my piece. I'm gonna go play a video game in about less than 10 minutes. Ryan, what are you up to tonight?
Oh, literally in 20 minutes, we're going to be doing Wednesday Night is Overbooked, where we talk about the world of professional wrestling. Mostly talk about what's currently going on because it has gotten better. But we are actually doing the top 5 worst WWE, basically all encompassed kind of, WCW, ECW, WWF, since they own them all. Entrances in history.
I gotta ask, is Disco Inferno on that?
Yeah.
I had a friend, he loved it when Disco came out, man. He loved that. He was so cheesy, he loved it. He was so cheesy.
Yeah, no, trust me, it's
that's a lot of fun there because there are some horrific ones over the past 40 years.
Oh yeah.
God awful.
Yeah, do you remember Billy and Chuck?
No.
Yeah, well, let's just say they were they pretended to be a little hey.
Oh god. Right.
Yeah, it was but of course Billy he started out as Billy Gunn, Mr. Ass. So his original intro was like, I'm an ass man. Dun, dun. So he's actually in 2 of mine. But anyway, long story short, I do have a question. Did you have a hard time getting Dragon Age, or no, you're playing it on the PlayStation?
No, I'm not.
I was Steam?
Not exactly. Here's what happened. I was going to play it on my PS3, but the capture card cannot communicate with my PS3. So
you don't. Okay, so you have an HDMI cable, don't you?
Yeah, and that this one doesn't work with you. There's stuff to do, but I have to spend more money than I want to make it work, which sucks because especially going into Dragon Age 2, I lose all my DLC extras, everything, all my items. I don't get anything. Here's the deal.
Okay.
So here's what I did. No, I couldn't get it to work on Steam because it's all on sale right now because of Veilguard. $3 on Steam and on EA Store. So what I ended up doing, because after my research, it looked it works on the EA Store. If once you boot it up and you troubleshoot it and tell it to work like it's Windows 8, it will work. And I have it working. Dragon Age 2 works fine on Steam. But Origins, get it through the EA Store. That's what I did. I also hear we're on GOG, but I got it at the EA Store because it was still on sale there for $3. And considering I don't like to repurchase things I already have, I could spend $6 on getting DA1 and DA2 for this stuff. Yeah. So
for the future, just to take the wanting to pull your face off. If you want to play something on the PlayStation 3, you cannot use an HDMI cable because the signal is encrypted. You cannot turn that off.
I know. I know. I
you have to get the high definition RGB cables.
And this television, this TV, my LG doesn't even have RGB cables in it.
It doesn't have the green, the blue, the what?
Nope, doesn't even have it.
What are you, a heathen?
I bought it. I had a Vizio, but the Vizio developed one of those lines across the screen.
Yeah.
And I still have it in there hoping I can get it fixed. But I needed a new one because I couldn't deal with a line across my freaking screen that was getting bigger, which drive me crazy. And I just bought it too. It was only a couple months old. So the Vizio's in the closet. Then I went and bought this, and I've had nothing but good time. This LG is really good. I really like it because my monitors are LGs. So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to go LG because my monitors work. I'm going to go TV. But no, I mean, maybe it's in a compartment. I have to open it up, but I don't see them in the back there. So even if I had it, I couldn't do it. I'll have to figure something out in the future because of I do have some PS2 games I want to play eventually for retro gaming. So I'll have to figure it eventually. But at least I know. But I found it out 20 minutes before start time last Thursday.
You can get an adapter, which basically
I've seen it.
So I did the high definition RGB cables into an adapter, converting it to an HDMI, so it would be able to go into the capture card, but still produce the signal without being encrypted. Because again, the PlayStation 3, they decided we're just going to encrypt the whole entire signal from the HDMI for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah. And the thing is, PS3 doesn't even communicate with YouTube, so you can't stream directly onto YouTube from it.
Yep.
So
you have to.
It was a loss. So I didn't know. I thought it was going to be like the 4 and the 5, where I just turn off HDCP and then it'll run. But no, it isn't. So that happened last week. Anyway, all right. So as for me, myself, and I, in about a few minutes, we'll be a few minutes late. I got to get up and move around for a minute. But you guys are going to be, if you're here and you want to hang out with me, Ariel could attest to, we've been marathoning Dragon Age Origins. Ryan, I did 2. Well, first one was 8 hours. Last night was basically a 9-hour stream.
Whoa.
So I've been hardcore playing it because I haven't played in over a decade, so it's almost fresh. And I've played that game every 6 weeks from Sunday, so it's not virgin territory. But we've been having fun. So we're trying to get everything done before Veilguard at the end of October. So
nice.
That's what we're trying to do. So you guys will be directed there if you want to hang out. At the very least, maybe subscribe and come back later on Renaissance Arcade, where I do all my gaming, because except for Veilguard, we are going to stream the very first session of Veilguard here because I want to try and maybe make $70 in super chats to get my money back immediately, because it's likely going to be a very painful game.
Dragon Age, Fortnite.
Hey, I gotta grift somehow. I've been told that I don't grift hard enough, so I have to.
I'm mad at you, dude. Do what you got to do. I was gonna try to stream because Alpha's been pestering me. He's like, dude, you got to stream Fallout London, and I'm like going, all right, I finally got.
I have to rebuy the game because you can't do it on the PS5. It has to be a Steam one.
Yeah, no, don't do.
Well, I can't download mods, so that's the point.
Yeah, don't do Steam, because Steam. That's where I was having.
You know what I mean? I can't do it on a console. You have to do it on PC. You have to do it on PC. And I wasn't going to rebuy because I'm not that big a Fallout fan anyway. Not like you. You actually love it. I'm like,
I love those shit as a Fallout.
So, So, well, Ariel, no, I'm not talking about you. I'm saying everybody's telling me I don't grift hard enough in my streams, like the bigger channel. So I have to grift somehow. So I'm grifting for Veilguard. When we do that stream, give me money to get my money back at least. That's all I'm asking for that one. Also, we'll get attention for it, and you'll see right away that first session how we're going to go, and then everything else will be uploaded to the gaming channel, and after that, we will continue all streams on the gaming channel. Because as you know, if I did a 9-hour stream for gaming on this channel, it would destroy my algorithm.
Yeah,
I can't. It would make the algorithm go, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? This is not what we agreed upon. This is not the shit you do." So that's why I made the gaming channel.
I've been doing a lot of stuff on my entertainment channel, actual Legion Games 2076, and because it's the monetized channel, and doing just entertainment in that algorithm, it's boosted everything because my Legion Talk has been nuked from all the streams that I did on it, and it just killed everything.
I mean, this is all right. I mean, doing a 2, maybe 3-hour stream, that's within the realm of normalcy for the channel, just because of the what we're talking about. It's in line with what we do, but I can't do 5 to 9 hour gaming streams. It would just, it was ruining my algorithm before. That's why I made the game channel. So guys, check out Renaissance Arcade. I'll be over there in a few minutes. I know the stream should have started right now, but I got to get up for a minute. Other than that, rest of the week, check us out. We're doing on driving this week. Blade Runner Director's Cut took a second. Blade Runner Director's Cut. And then next week, it's Mordor Country. Rings of Power Season 2. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So
when are you doing that stream?
Saturday nights.
What time?
Starting 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
So, oh no, won't be able to make that. Damn. I wanted to do Mordor Country, but I'll still be at work for another hour and a half.
Well, we'll entertain you if you can watch us. We'll keep you entertained.
Saturday nights is usually freer. So I do have the. Look, I'll tell you what.
Well, listen, the first one's going to be horrible. 3 episodes. We're going to be there forever. We're going to be there forever.
Well, if y'all are still live by the time I get home at about 10:20ish, I'm basically I'll try to hop on.
There's a good chance. I mean, we've got we've got the panel lining up for the first one. And then I know Alf's going to be joining us going forward because he's working that first night, but he's going to be our lore guy going forward. So so you'll see a lot of familiar face, everybody, on Mordor Country this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. Watch us meltdown. It's pure meltdown, and it'll be simulcast on a couple different channels, so you can catch either way. Thanks for showing up, Ryan. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem. I forgot you were doing this, or I would have shown up earlier.
I didn't announce it till this afternoon, so it was all right. I mean, it was like,
well, I was still very much balls deep into work, so
yeah. For me, it was the only topics for videos today are shit I've already talked about, so I can't do another video. So I'm going to do a stream. And then I'm going to do a stream over on the game. And Hale, Son of Joxer will be joining us the first episode on Saturday. He'll be there. He's a veteran. He was there last year. He's got legacy options to get on. Anyway, so join us for everything all the way around. And we got a roundtable this weekend. I'll be on Ballbusters on Friday. Whatever god-awful shit we're going to get up to there. You never know. Either way, thanks for being there. Thanks to Ryan for hanging out with us at the end here. No problem, and I'll see you guys around. Until then, take it easy. Have a good night wherever you may be.
See you.